Hello, everybody, and welcome. This is Norman Lawrence again from Ganja Vacations with another edition of our Ganja Vacations conversations. Today, we're talking with Julie Fry and Donald Porter, owners of the Wake and Bake Cafe in Negril, Jamaica. A must visit for any serious weed enthusiast on that side of Jamaica. And today they're going to tell us a little bit about the cafe and about all the wonderful things they do there and why their place should be a must visit if you are ever in the grill. So, greetings, Julie and Donald, and many thanks for doing this.
Thank you for
Definitely,
having
definitely.
us.
Part of our job here at Ganja Vacations is to try to inform people about interesting and unique Jamaican cannabis experiences. And I've never been to the Wake and Bake Cafe, but from all that I hear about it, it's one of those kinds of places. So why don't we start by you telling us a little bit about the cafe? What is it and what do you offer and what kind of experiences would I get when I come there?
Well, the Wake and Bake Cafe, it's the original Wake and Bake Cafe in Negril, so it's fairly old. It existed before we acquired it, of course. And what we did was we incorporated a bit more of it's more of a retreat. So the full property is called Can Jam Retreat, and the Wake and Bake Cafe is a part of it. So we provide a space where people can enjoy our products within a safe environment, flush within nature. It's called the Stoner's Sanctuary, right? So it is what it is. Generally, people have the choice of just purchasing edibles, but then we have something much different from all the other properties. Many of the other properties offer the beach, the sands, a pool, something like that, while our property is more the nature is infused. So we have many rare tropical plants, hammocks are everywhere. It's a really great space for couples and groups, right? A group of friends to really enjoy themselves without, sometimes if you're on the beach, you'll get hassled here and there, or if you're anywhere else, you have to, they're allowed to be free, right? And really enjoying the laughter and the fun. And then not that we guide them or monitor them, but they're at least within an environment that if something goes wrong, someone is there to help, right?
Okay.
So the Can Jam Retreat we also provide rooms, of course. So our guests tend to be some of the most friendly people you'll find. And a lot of times, even if they're just there by themselves or it's a couple, they intermingle, they talk. It's an experience. It's not just a place to buy edibles, right? So we provide a whole experience for our guests.
Sorry, Julie, you were about to say something.
I was just going to say it's a garden as opposed to,
Right.
Jamaica's known for its beaches, but we're talking here about a garden.
Yeah.
So it's a different vibe.
Yeah.
Right. It's a destination, right?
Sure.
People
Yeah.
yeah. So I would imagine that the retreat, the rooms are mostly tourist clientele, but the cafe itself, is that also mostly a tourist clientele, or do you have a lot of Jamaican clients as well?
We do.
Both.
We have, it's
Both.
both. We have clients. Some of our clients come all the way from Kingston, and when they're in the grill, they have to stop by. They feel our products are premium. They're not rushed. It's not just it is. You could taste the difference between our products and most of the other products in the grill. So that's kind of what really separates us and sets us apart. Yeah, we do have many locals that come by, especially on Thursdays when we would keep the it's called Roots Rock and Culture. No, yeah, Roots Rock and Culture, right? And Roots Drums and Culture. I'm sorry. I'm thinking of another festival. Yeah, and so it's every Thursday, and it's a really cultural event with Kumina Afro-Caribbean drumming. So every Thursday we'll have a lot of locals will also come by and attend, especially within the Rasta community. and it provides a way for tourist guests and everyone to intermingle together in a fun, safe environment, right? And it's actually inviting to many people who don't partake in the cannabis. So it's such a wholesome, holistic environment that anyone that just wants to partake within the culture and that type of vibe, but not necessarily if they have for whatever reason they can't smoke or they can't cannabis, they still come by and enjoy the environment.
Okay. So yeah, that's a music event. It's a musical
Yes,
evening.
every Thursday. Yep. Yeah. So
Okay.
we definitely have a mix of tourists and locals. But for the rooms, for sure, it's definitely predominantly tourists.
Okay. So how source your product? From just looking at your menu, I
Mhm.
see brownies and cookies and that sort of thing, which I assume that you bake yourselves there. But
Yes.
the ganja that people get there, how do you source that?
Well, we have several different
Yeah, and,
suppliers.
and since I was a member of the
Mhm.
founding one of the founding members of directors of the Westmoreland Hemp and Ganja Farmers Association, I have a ton of connections with like the grassroots farmers, the
Mhm.
farmers in Orange Hill, and other parts in and around Negril. So we tend to work with work with them. It's a bit ethical, and at the same time, it's staying within the true nature and the culture of
Mhm.
cannabis to be able to get product from real farmers, not the corporate operations or any of
Yeah.
the
You're supporting the local guys.
exactly
Yes.
exactly
Yeah, yeah.
exactly.
Now, would you say that that is a higher quality of weed than somebody can buy in one of the dispensaries?
I'd say
I would say it is, but go ahead,
I don't
Julie.
know. I'd say it goes both ways because people have personal preference. Like, I know like can I give your uncles an example?
Yeah, yeah,
Like
sure.
some Rastas I know, I'll just put it
Yeah.
that way. Yeah. Some Rastas I know want a fermented hunk of bud that has been sitting there
Cured,
browning. Yeah, curing. They call
cured.
it curing.
Mm,
Like they call it curing, but it would be browning. And I guarantee you'd probably find fusarium and
Yeah.
other,
mm,
like some of the Rastas, prefer bud like that, and they call that primo weed, right? Then you have people that are coming from the North American marketplace,
mm,
and entirely different.
High THC,
mm,
yeah.
mm,
Yeah, it's an entirely
mm,
different phenotype
mm,
of cannabis. And then somewhere on the spectrum in between, like there's all kinds of personal preference. The
mm,
science has backed that the
mm,
nose knows.
mm,
So smell eventually ends up being the most important factor to pretty much anybody who's consuming.
mm,
Or I've seen dispensary weed, like for instance at Canna Clinic or any of these other places. They have great bud. It's just different. Like it's
mm,
different what we're providing versus what they're
Mhm.
providing, because
mhm.
suppliers
Yeah,
that
and
are
a lot of
catering to a specific market and a specific phenotype, and we have ours.
just to add to that many of our guests and our customers tend to want Jamaican weed, if that
Right.
makes sense, right? They there's a percentage of people who, as Julie was saying, from North America, they come down, and a lot of them will have this pre like
Conceived notion
conceived
about
notion that, and it's weird because some will think, oh, it's Jamaican, so it's got to be super powerful, while others who have traveled to the island before,
Yeah.
they kind of know that it's not, since it's not made specifically for sale, right? It's
Mm,
more of a Sacramento thing, that the natural grown outdoors and uh the way how the local grassroots farmers really tend to the plant is sort of different from a corporate rollout,
I
right?
mean,
right.
we're talking the
So
difference between sun and earth and rain
Mm, mm,
and indoor environmentally
right.
controlled
Right.
conditions,
Right.
possible nutrients
Right.
added, and other mitigating
yeah,
factors for
exactly.
pests, and
and
so on.
Mm,
So it's
and
just different standards.
we tend to because Julie makes sure that the cannabis that we use to create the oil for the infusions, right, is as natural as possible. So
Sun and earth.
fertilizers and pesticides, and we try to avoid, and we only choose the ones that don't use them at all, or go as natural as possible,
Yeah.
right? Natural
Yeah.
fertilizers and so forth, because
Yep.
that comes out in the product, right? Taste it, and when you're eating, you could taste it as well, right? And by avoiding that, we also avoid some of the downsides, because your body will react to some of these other things that are coming out in the oil that eventually end up in the edibles, right? So we definitely filter and fine pick where we get our bud from, and which farmers that we support and we work with.
Yeah.
No, it's a very personalized thing. Over the past couple of years, we've been getting reviews from people who come down, and we get it at both ends of the spectrum. There's a woman who came down the other day. She's a very, very serious smoker, and she said that Jamaican weed is stronger and different from any weed she has ever had in the United States. And I've gotten people at the other end of the spectrum saying that it was very light, and it is not nearly as strong, and that it's a lot more mellow, that she was able to smoke more over a longer period of time because it didn't hit her out, right at the very beginning. So, people react differently. But I guess also that depending on where you are in Jamaica, strains and the conditions are different, and then the weed is different.
Definitely.
Massive variation on the island.
There's what we call beach weed, right? Which smells great. Somebody will come up to you with a stick of it on the beach. It'll be this tall, right? And it'll smell great. It'll look great. It'll feel great. It's probably one of the lightest things ever, right? So it's almost like there are some that are either rushed or they're grown specifically just for quick sales, if that makes sense. As we were saying, like the North Americans, especially with the high THC content within the market up there, we do get a ton of people that'll come in and say, "Oh, wait, this is really soft," right? And it really also comes down to a personal thing. Like if the more mellow it is, the more you can enjoy it, the more you get self-reflection, the more you could if you're with friends, the longer you guys could without someone getting wasted as on the customer and their tolerance, right? Avoid the beach weed.
Okay. Right. Well, the beach weed has a reputation of being not very good weed. Right?
Exactly.
Right. Yeah. So how both of you get into this? You acquired this property and have enhanced it from what you bought. How did you get into this in the first place, and why did you want to do this?
Well, it actually happened during the whole COVID thing, right? So the previous owner of the Wake and Bake Cafe, she was Canadian. She is Canadian. She had it for about 5 years prior to COVID, and then the retreat space, she was using that mostly for personal, right? Like house, but just friends and family. Not really a business put towards it, or not to the scale that we have. And her mother was still alive. She is, I'm not sure. She wanted to get out as soon as possible. So it was actually like it was a bit of luck. It was it was pretty much a bit of luck. It was she wanted to get out as soon as possible to return back to her friends and family in Canada, and I was there, able to facilitate to make sure that the bills were caught up, and then she also had some funds to return. So it was, I don't think without COVID it would have happened in that way. It's one of those things. And then Julie came on a few months later, and she's a professional, right? While I'm more of a hospitality, I've been with hospitality since I was a teenager, right? Hotels in New York City and Hilton properties. And then I was also marketing manager, and I build websites for other properties in Negril. So when I acquired it, it was more of a business opportunity to keep it going and expand, get the rooms set up, and to keep it going. When Julie came, and she just put it to another level, because she's educated within the field, other plant medicines as well, and she brought the products that we provide to a whole nother level, especially with the credibility and the
Consistency.
consistency, right?
Right.
So
Okay.
it's not
The
just
quality control.
quality control. Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Good. So, how do you describe the weed scene in the grill?
Open
Expanding.
and open.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah,
expanding.
Negril is like a free zone when it comes to cannabis,
Okay.
and that's kind of by design because many of the original members of the Westmoreland Hemp and Ganja Farmers Association that led the push for legalization were from Negril and surrounding areas because Orange Hill
Right.
is pretty much a part
Right.
of Negril, right? So there was
And
about
since
200 different farmers was involved in that movement. So we were able to kind of direct where things went. And during that whole time, it was kind of understood that Negril was this undocumented free zone, right?
Mm.
Much lower than anywhere else on the island when it comes to cannabis. But go ahead.
I was just gonna add to what I had said earlier about expanding. Since Donald and I took this on, two other places have opened up on the same road, selling edibles as well. So, and other plant medicines. So it's expanding, and more people are getting into the market, and there's a lot of options. And so, I think that's why what both Donald and I bring to the table, him in terms of hospitality and kind of having an overview and understanding of what people are looking for in terms of an experience, and me with my angle of harm reduction, education, credibility, quality, and consistency. That's why we have to do things like that in order to set ourselves apart because, like I said, it is expanding, and I don't know if it will ever reach a saturation point, but Negril is an expanding market for sure.
Okay. Well, the, do you have an interest, or you probably already doing this in terms of partnering perhaps with some of the properties on the beach, for example, to provide an experience for them?
Yes, we have unofficial like partnerships, especially since our event that I mentioned earlier
All right.
was running even during COVID. So
Oh, okay.
when many of the other properties, it's an early event. It's from 4:20 until about 9 p.m. Right? And during the time when we had like lockdowns and curfews, we'd shut it down early, and it was a space uh where it's more upscale for adults, if that makes sense. And while the kids were having their hidden parties in the bush somewhere during COVID, we found that many of the more respectable like the business owners, the guests that aren't into the hardcore dance hall and things like that started to gravitate to our property. So once everything opened up, we kept many of those connections, right? Because we also do delivery with the Wake and Bake Cafe.
Okay.
The previous marketing manager at Sea Star Inn, which is also a cannabis friendly property. We kind of have like a brother sister property thing out. We call them first for rooms and
Right.
back and forth.
They have a grow operation there as well, right? At Sea
Yes.
Star. Yeah.
Yes.
And most of the people on the lane,
For sure.
on West End Road, they know about our Thursday event and normally would send their guests, refer their guests to our place, because from the West End all the way to 7 Mile and back in the night.
Yeah, we've proven our worth. So many of the guests, they'll ask where's the best place to go, and especially on West End, the answer is usually going to be the Wake and Bake. Where it's more personal. You're not just going to just buy something. You need to be involved in an experience. And I wouldn't say we have official partnerships, but we've set the trend where we're the go-to place for many hotels where they recommend their guests to go to. Yeah.
Okay, great. So when I come to your cafe, I imagine I can have lunch there, right? And what would that menu look like?
Well, it's mostly just edibles. We do breakfast based on reservations. Reservations for breakfast, and we do have plans to maybe expand into a restaurant in the future and offer more items. But for now, it really is the edibles, popcorn, milkshake, brownies, coconut cakes, gummies, things like
blended
that.
fruit punch.
Blended fruit punches.
I mean, if you are looking for a light lunch, you can have a blended fruit punch or a milkshake
full restaurant menu.
Okay,
Yeah.
but and no liquor.
on Thursdays.
On Thursdays, yes. I
Thursdays,
mean, we do
okay.
have a small bar. We
Okay.
do have a small bar in the back. It's not a full bar. It's not
Okay.
it's not a cocktail bar, so to speak.
Right,
But
right,
we do.
right, right.
Yeah, it just
Okay.
especially since our products are cannabis infused. You know, it's a
Right.
risk.
Stayed well.
It's a risk.
right, right. Yeah, you don't want to take that risk. Okay. Well,
Exactly.
you
And
know,
we
yeah,
provide the
okay.
education for them, so
Right,
they
right.
know once they see certain things like, hey, it's
Okay. All right. Well, sounds like a great place. I can't wait to come see you perhaps sometime in the next few months. And
nice.
thanks a million again for doing this. And I hope to see you soon, unless you have anything more that you'd like to tell us about the cafe.
I just thank you so much for having us here and inviting us and providing this opportunity.
Yeah,
We're very grateful.
Terrific.
same
Terrific.
here.
Well,
Same here.
thank you as well. And talk to you soon.
All right,
Okay.
Norm.
All right.
Bye.
Thanks. Okay.
All right.
All right. Bye.